Okay, real quick, I want to talk about picking your job for the Air Force and what you'll be doing when you get the MEPS after you take the ASVAB. So, if you watch my other video about taking the ASVAB, I kind of broke down what you need to do and what you need to study and everything as far as getting the job that you would like to qualify for. So, after you take the ASVAB, it'll take like maybe 20-30 minutes. That's how long it took when I went to MEPS for me to get my scores back for the ASVAB. And they'll call you into the office, and they'll give you like this list of jobs, and depending on what score you got and your scores for the subtest is what list of jobs you'll get. So hopefully, if you had a goal for the ASVAB as to what scores you would like to get for what jobs, that job will be on there. Now I want to caution you that just because you got a good score and you scored what you need to score for the job that you wanted, does not mean that job will be on the list. It's really up to the Air Force as to what jobs they need and also what jobs you qualify for. Also, like if you're active duty or reserve. If you're reserve, it's up to the place where you be stationed at if they have a job open and if it matches what you would like. So they'll give you the jobs and everything, and they'll give you a list. For me, they gave me about 4 or 5 pages of jobs because I got a pretty good score. So they gave me about 4 or 5 pages, and the tech sergeant who was working with me, what I asked him to do was, because I don't want to get dirty, I don't like to get dirty, so I told him to scratch off everything that was kind of like a grease monkey job or jobs that required me to, get dirty or like work outside and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that. So he just kind of marked through everything, and so they took about 2 pages off. And then also, he took off jobs that he thought were, not to sound like arrogant, but like beneath me. Like things that if you overqualify, don't pick a job unless you really want that job. Don't pick a job that, is not going to challenge you. So that's really what he was doing. He was like, this job is not challenging whatsoever, and your score is too high for this, so I'm just going to mark this off. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And so I had my number one job that I wanted, which is diet therapy, but he was also explaining to me at the time that all the medical jobs like diet therapy and dentist assistant and other things like that were really, really hard to get into because they were mostly civilian contracted out. So he told me, just be prepared for the fact that I might not get diet therapy, and so just to try to pick some other stuff. So we went through the pages, and I was asking him to describe the jobs, and so he went online and he kind of read the descriptions of everything. Oh, sorry, if you heard that, I'm outside. But he went through descriptions of everything and all the jobs, and I said if I liked it or not. And basically what I did, we were in there for about an hour, so I wrote down about 10 jobs, and he wanted me to pick 2 general areas. So I got open general, and I also picked open electric. But open electric I only picked because I had out of mechanical and electric was my highest score. But I was explaining to him I don't want an electrical job, and he said that's fine. Just let my recruiter know that I do not want an electrical job, which is the first thing I did when I saw him. Told him I did not want an electrical job because I'm not trying to get electrocuted or anything like that. So I gave him my initial list, which had about 10 jobs and then about the 2 general areas. But I did not feel secure in the jobs that I had listed because I really didn't have the opportunity to go through every single job and to look at everything. So once I did that, he told me that if I wanted to switch everything on my list, I could do that. Just email my recruiter, and my recruiter would email him. So the jobs that I had at MEPS, I put 1 through 10 and whatever he wanted me to put them in order. And so when I went home, I had that same list. They give you the list of jobs, so you can go home and look at it. So when I got home, I went on about.com and I looked up all the jobs. Every single one that I was interested in, I looked up every single one of them. And I started marking through all the ones that I thought did not interest me or did not sound like something I would like to do. So then I made another list, and I emailed that to my recruiter, and I only took off about 3 or 4 jobs. All the other things, either I kept them or I rearranged the order in which I liked them in. But diet therapy was the number one. And a couple other jobs that I remember putting on there were contracting, operations intelligence, imagery intelligence, I believe. And I think that's all I remember. I mean, I kept the open general and the open electric because he told me that I had to have 2 open areas. But other than that, I just tried to not be job locked as far as the diet therapy thing went because it was a good probability that I didn't get it. Now, I didn't find out my job until I went back to MEPS because my recruiter wanted me to take the D-Lab test, which I'll make another video about that test later. But I didn't find out my job until then. I actually found out before my recruiter found out. But they wanted me to, they gave me the operations and intelligence job, which I was like, that's fine, because it sounded cool to me, so I put it on the list. I think it was maybe about 4th or 5th on my list, which was fine. Make sure that when you make your list, do not put anything on the list that you absolutely do not want. Like, even if they try to pressure you to do it, do not put anything, because once you put it on the list, if it's on your list, you will have to take it if they give it to you. Or you could be considered job locked and they can just kick you out the depth. So just be open to other opportunities. And if you don't like your job, you can always cross-train when when your window comes up. But I didn't find out my job until I went to take the D-Lab, and I happened to be there when my job was scheduled. It was maybe scheduled like 2 days before, and they were going to tell my recruiter, but I was already there. So they just called me in, and they told me that I had operations intelligence. I was like, okay, that's cool. And so then they also gave me my date, which is May 3rd, which is about 5 weeks away. So that's what I have right now, and I'll be going to Goodfellow Air Force Base, I believe. So I'll be meeting a couple other people. So if anybody else is May 3rd, nice to meet you. Hopefully I'll see you when I get there. I'll be flying out of Charlotte Douglas International. So anybody who I see when I get to Dallas Fort Worth or the San Antonio Airport, you know, you'll know me when you see me. So I got to smile. But anyway, if you have questions, make sure you look up any job that you want. Make sure you do your research, because I absolutely did my research. You know, I have to know things. I have to know what's going on. So make sure you do your research. And if you have any questions, ask your recruiter. That's what they're there for. That's what they get paid for. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to answer for you. Okay.